This is presentation number 3. Hello, this is Steve Potasic, Superintendent, Jacksonville School District 117. This is the third online presentation in a series covering the district's reboundary process initiated to develop elementary boundaries for all students following the closure of Franklin Elementary. As stated in earlier presentations, the district's boundaries will not change until August 2018, which coincides with the 6th grade moving to Jacksonville Middle School. This presentation is an update and covers the first district-wide boundary process committee meeting that took place on Monday, May 8th. The committee consists of all 7 board members, central office staff, transportation staff, elementary and middle school administration, and elementary teachers. 28 committee members attended Monday's meeting. The previous 2 presentations can be found at www.jsd117.org. You can watch them as YouTube videos or download a narrated PowerPoint version and watch at your own pace. If you choose the PowerPoint option, please remember that you will have to run in slideshow mode to hear the audio and watch animations. The YouTube version is suggested for most viewers. Just click the link and watch. I want to highlight some important items covered in the second presentation. In that presentation, I showed why we cannot undergo the limited impact process and why we must go through an entire district-wide reboundary process. I also showed why we cannot close an elementary school and how the plan is developed to define our elementary boundaries, with 4 of our elementary schools having 2 classes per grade level and 2 schools having 1 class per grade level. This slide was compiled as further evidence to show why a district-wide boundary process is needed. The top chart shows the current enrollment in our 6 elementary schools. I want to highlight several items in this chart. Notice we currently have a split class in 1st and 2nd grade, a 1st-2nd grade split at North Elementary. We also have 5th, 6th grade splits at both Lincoln Elementary and at North Elementary. While the district educators, the teachers and administrators, understand that splits can be very effective, we agree that they provide additional challenges and would prefer to not have split classes. I also want to highlight the drastic inequity in classroom sizes throughout the district. For instance, notice that we have several small classes throughout the district. At other schools, South for instance, we have multiple larger classrooms. I also want to note that Murrayville-Woodson currently has almost 30 students attending due to either Franklin or Lincoln choice. Those options will not be available in the future. This loss of students will end up drastically lowering the Murrayville-Woodson class sizes without any changes in our current boundaries. Status quo is not an equitable solution. The chart on the bottom left highlights one of the main advantages of going through a balanced, equitable district-wide boundary process. We currently have 74 K-6 teachers. We have 10 teaching positions allocated to the 6th grade, which leaves 64 total teaching positions in K-5. A balanced boundary process will result in 60 K-5 teaching positions if we draw boundaries with 2 classes per grade level in 4 schools and 1 class per grade level in the other 2. This will change the district K-5 class average from 21.41 to 22.83. We will become a more efficient district. Here's a summary of the benefits of a district-wide boundary process. This process will decrease our required K-5 staff by 4 compared to our current staffing needs and up to 7 compared to the limited impact scenarios. This will allow the district to increase elective opportunities at Jacksonville Middle School for our 6th grade when they move to Jacksonville Middle School in the fall of 2018. This process will promote equitable student-teacher ratios throughout the district and it will also dramatically lessen the need for split grade level classes. It's important to highlight the benefits that the district-wide boundary process will have on the staffing needs of Jacksonville Middle School when the sixth graders move there in August of 2018. Currently, we have 10 sixth grade teaching positions that will not be needed in the elementary schools when the sixth graders move to the middle school. But the sixth grade will need 10 core teachers to provide 2 teams of 4 regular education teachers and 1 special education teacher. That means that we will not have the teachers necessary to provide electives to the students without increasing our annual staffing budget. The efficiency of the district-wide boundary process allows the district to add 4 elective teaching positions at the middle school without increasing the annual staffing budget. This process will increase services for the entire community. The rest of this presentation will show screen prints that were used during Monday night's meeting from the Maptitude GIS program. GIS stands for Geographic Information System and allows users to analyze geographic data while adjusting parameters such as boundaries. This software allows the committee to analyze boundary options and instantly create class rosters with each boundary adjustment. It allows us to accurately meet the target enrollment numbers for each school. In the analysis of our grade level data, we notice that we have somewhat consistent grade level enrollments. We do see some slight increases and decreases, but the trend seems to return to the 230 to 240 students per grade level average. We are using current students as density markers for future planning, knowing that the students we are using as markers might advance beyond 5th grade when the plan is actually put into place. We know our current kindergarten is relatively small, and we will be watching to see if this is an anomaly or a trend. If it continues to be lower, we will have to reevaluate any plans in the future, but we have noticed this drop in other classes with a corresponding rebound all the way through high school over the last decade. Here is a GIS data map of our current K-5 enrollment. Each dot represents an address with at least 1 K-5 student. As predicted, you see that there's a high density of students inside the city limits of Jacksonville and South Jacksonville. Here's the same data with the current attended elementary school added as a color marker. The yellow dots down here represent the students that are currently attending Murrayville-Woodson. The purple color are for the students attending South Elementary. The blue color is for Eisenhower Elementary. The olive green color is for Washington. The burgundy is for Lincoln. And the darker green up north is for North Elementary. In order to analyze boundary options, we needed to start with an outer boundary that captured all of the students. The boundary added on this image is a general area and does not represent the actual location of the boundary between Jacksonville School District 117 and surrounding school districts. Throughout this presentation, the boundary lines added represent those general areas and are not actual final locations. Those will be finalized before the plans are issued for community feedback. The lines added are simply ways to capture the students into a possible boundary and develop potential rosters. The committee will be making adjustments during this process. Please understand that this presentation is an update of our work and does not represent a final plan. We started the process by looking at Murrayville-Woodson, since the options have always been limited by geography. There have only been 3 real options for that school from the beginning. We either need to close the school, and we have determined that that is not possible given the limited space in the remaining 5 schools, or keep status quo, and we have determined that that is not an equitable or efficient option for the rest of the district. So the members of the committee agreed there was really only one option. In fulfilling the goal of developing an equitable, efficient boundary plan, the one option is that if you can't close Murrayville-Woodson, then you have to move the boundary to fill it. Currently, if you were to remove the Franklin Choice and Lincoln Choice students from the Murrayville-Woodson K-5 roster, you would have 106 students residing in the area attending Murrayville-Woodson Elementary. That is substantially below the goal of 144 students that you would have in our two schools that have one class per grade level. Given the geographical limitations, the only direction that the boundary can be adjusted is to move it north. During the meeting, the committee analyzed how far north the boundary would have to be moved to create an efficient school with an acceptable student-teacher ratio, ultimately having that goal of 144 students. There are currently 136 K-5 students living south of I-72 and south of Highway 104. The committee decided that this was a good place to establish the working boundary for Murrayville-Woodson. The working title on decisions is used to note that an analysis of the rest of the district will be needed before the decision can be incorporated into a final plan. For example, will Murrayville-Woodson need more students to get closer to the goal of 144? More data is needed before that can be determined. Factors such as transportation will also be important in the analysis prior to finalizing a plan. The committee decided to move north and look at South Elementary. There are two different directions to establish the south boundary. Each of those directions greatly impacts the options for the other school boundaries. South could extend west and remain south of Morton. This would create a south layer on top of Murrayville-Woodson. So this is being called the layer approach. The other option is for south to move north. This is being called the block approach. The committee determined that it wanted to commit an entire night to each approach. The committee also determined the schedule for future committee meetings. Please remember these meetings are open to the public, and you will have the opportunity to provide feedback to the committee. June 28th, in the Jacksonville High School cafeteria, starting at 6 p.m., the committee will be thoroughly analyzing and developing a final district-wide boundary plan using the layered option. July 12th, in the High School Media Center at 6 p.m., they will be doing the same thing to develop a final plan using the block option. July 19th is the night of our regularly scheduled board meeting. There will be a Committee of the Whole meeting at 6 p.m., and during that Committee of the Whole session, the committee will prepare both plans to be issued to the community for input. Both plans will be made available for community input for approximately 1 month from late July into mid to late August. The exact dates for this important step will be determined by the committee during the June and July meetings. Late August, the committee will decide if one plan is ready to be issued to the Board of Education for approval, or if the plans need further development and possibly further community input. September is the earliest that a final plan could be approved. And the board has established December as an absolute latest date for finalizing a plan. The goal is to give the community as much advance notice as possible with an implementation date in August of 2018. Another important decision was made Monday night, and that was which other school will house one class per grade level. The factors taken into consideration in making this decision included the size of each school, the number of classrooms in each school, the impact on our transportation needs, special programming needs, geography, and student population density. The committee made the recommendation Monday night that the boundary for North Elementary will be designed for one class per grade level. That's 144 students, or 6 grade levels with a goal of 24 students per grade level. The factors were that North only has 12 full-size classrooms. Outside of Murrayville-Woodson, it is our smallest school. All students attending North are offered transportation. North has a very low student density in the surrounding area, and North only has one level, making it extremely accessible for the district-wide special education programs. Thank you for watching this third online boundary presentation. Please stay tuned for regular updates, including meeting dates, times, and more online presentations. I have also updated the vision117.com website and added a page dedicated to the boundary process. I will keep that updated on a regular basis. Thank you very much.